Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. So, with the release of the Epstein files, it's been quite the interesting turn of events from the Democrats. Because remember, before the release of the Epstein files, they were like, Donald Trump is a pedophile. We don't have any evidence to prove that, but we're still going to say it because you guys won't release the Epstein files. Free. And then they released it, and it turns out, now if you're watching mainstream media, you're not going to see this information. You're not going to see it on a headline on CNN.com. You're not going to hear them bloviate about it on MSNBC. This has gone very, very underreported, that it turns out, just as I predicted, and so many others who actually have common sense and brains, that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein hated each other, mostly because Donald Trump called the police on Epstein in 2006. This is one of the only outlets that reported on this was Forbes. Trump reportedly called police about Epstein in 2006 and said Ghislaine Maxwell was evil. Now, again, I realize that the document drop was last week? But now we're finding all of this out. You've got, millions of files to sift through. And it turns out CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, they don't want to report on this because it disputes the narrative that they've been pushing to you for, since January 20th of last year. Now, no word on that the 4 years before with Joe Biden at the helm, with them in charge. They were in charge. No talk of releasing the Epstein files because Orange Man bad. Now, all of a sudden, they got to talk about it. And now, all of a sudden, they don't want to talk about it. Curious, isn't it? Now, this was revealed when unsealed court documents showed how President Trump called the police on Epstein. In the file, it says, Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative. Quote, she is evil and to focus on her. Trump told Redacted that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present and Trump, quote, got the hell out of there, end quote. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein, which totally tracks with everything we already knew. Like, it's absolutely, these people are screaming bloody murder about how terrible Trump is, about how he's committed crimes, about how he's a pedophile. He was Jeffrey Epstein's bestie because there's one picture of them together. No mention, by the way, of Bill Clinton or Bill Gates and whatever the hell STD he got. No mention on that, but Orange Man bad. We have a very long track record on President Trump and his behavior once he found out that Jeffrey Epstein was a total perv. We already have the facts. And this is my victory lap, okay? Everything we said has been true. And I didn't even have proof at the time, but it's just like you take all of these things and put them together in a way that makes sense. You already could tell that this was true. Here's another one. A former police chief from Palm Beach, Florida, who investigated Jeffrey Epstein in the mid-2000s, also mentioned Trump's eagerness to catch Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the headline. Ex-police chief says Trump told him, thank goodness you're stopping Epstein in the 2000s. You're not going to hear this on CNN. You're not going to hear total vindication, just like you didn't hear total vindication when the Russia hoax. When that jig was up, they were like, well, actually, it doesn't say that he didn't commit collusion. It just says they can't prove it. Well, actually, guys, it's always been this way. We've always known it to be this way. And remember, I told you guys when Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was talking to the press and he had an oopsies, he accidentally let the truth slip. He had to walk it back later on. It was very awkward because he said it in such a way. He's like, well, yeah, remember, everyone knows that President Trump was an FBI informant on Epstein, duh. And everyone was like, wait, what? No, wait, did you just say Trump was an FBI informant? This is shocking news. We've never known that. And he's like, oh, what I meant was... If you don't remember that, take a look.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
I want to get our body language expert on to talk about that. It's one of my very favorite clips because you see him process in real time the oopsies, and he stumbles on his next word because he's like, well, Trump was an FBI informant. Oh shit. Play that again, Stephen.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms.
Mike Johnson, totally vindicated. Sara Gonzales, totally vindicated. Most importantly, Donald Trump, totally vindicated. Let the record reflect. Anytime a Democrat wants to tell you, I see it all the time. I don't even know how manufactured it is. I don't even know how real life it is versus the bots. But anytime I tweet anything, they're like, okay, pedo protector. Like, okay. Send them this clip. Send them this video. Show them the files from the Epstein files, the documents that show that Donald Trump was the one who called the cops on him in the first place. Send them that information. Now, again, on top of that, don't forget Bradley Edwards, the attorney who represented Epstein accusers and victims. He was on the record as well, saying that President Trump was the only person who was willing to talk and was actually like extremely the most helpful person in their investigation.
I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
So Donald Trump, totally vindicated. I do have some questions about some others. I do have some questions about Congress. Because what I know is that Ghislaine Maxwell just yesterday appeared in a deposition. And in that deposition, she, predictably, she was just like, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. I don't know that we need to play the whole clip here, but here's some of that.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
All right, that's enough. So, she just says hey, I've got this other case going on and this could jeopardize the other case. So I need to wait until that other case kind of shakes out. And her lawyer said that she is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. Now, I just genuinely, I agree with Trump. She's an evil person. She is actually an evil person. She was Jeffrey Epstein's fixer. She went and found these young girls for him. She was a part of all of these. So I don't know that I want her to get clemency, but I need the darkness to be exposed. I don't understand why there are so many redactions to people's names that we should know. They're talking about young girls to Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein's name right there in plain sight, redacted who it's from. Why? So I have some questions for Congress, whether or not they're planning on, once she actually names names, if she does, what happens next, guys? What happens next, James Comer? What are you going to do? Have another strongly worded letter sent to the manager? What is going to happen? What are you going to do, DOJ? You're releasing documents with redactions that it is in the best interest of the public that we know who was ordering little girls. It's kind of a big deal. And I'm not at this point willing to believe that they are going to be totally transparent about that we are actually going to get justice for all of these people who did unspeakable things to little girls. But one thing is clear, President Trump was not one of those people. Make sure that you subscribe to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube. Smash the like button, comment, it'll help us in the algorithm. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.